I am Rachel Meliotis, a senior editor at O'Reilly Media, and I am here with Jeremy Edberg. He's a reliability architect at Netflix. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So let's talk about reliability architect. What does that actually look like day to day?
So there's really three different parts to my job. The first part is as the incident manager. So we run the incidents, my team and I, from beginning to end. An incident starts, we spin up the call, we're the call leaders, we make sure that the customer pain is alleviated, find out what's going on, fix the problem, get the teams to fix the problem. Mm-hmm. Then we do the rest of the process too, where we follow up and do the incident review and all of that other stuff. Then the other two parts are evangelism, where we evangelize best practices around the company. We help various teams build their software to be reliable, resilient, work with distributed computing, stuff like that. And then the third part is actually writing tools ourselves that help reliability.
Okay.
So we write tools that make it easier for us to triage events, find events, alerts, things like that.
Cool. So I would imagine that's all very important to Netflix.
I hope so.
What are some of the things, not everyone has as many users as Netflix. What are some of the things that really help with reliability of 10 million subscribers?
So first, I should say that according to our Vista Relations page, it's actually 38 million subscribers.
Well, I don't know where that number came from then.
But no, so things that we do to maintain reliability. So a lot of it is insight. It's with that many users, you just can't do it by hand, right? Mm-hmm. Now, we have great customer service, and they will tell us about things that users find, but that's the last stop. We hope that we never get there. We're always trying to build tools that are doing insight, so real-time insights, as well as slightly less than real-time insights, so a couple minutes after the fact.
Sure.
Analyze the last few minutes of data, see what happened. So a lot of it is about monitoring, alerting, insights. That's the main way that we maintain reliability, having tools that tell us what's going on.
Sure. Can you elaborate? Can you give me an instance without telling me any secrets about
yeah. So we'll have we have this tool that we wrote called Kronos that basically shows us all the different events that happen in production. And having that tool available to us, we can see when things are happening. Typically, that tool is used when we see that there's an outage happening, and we know that through our monitoring. We have graphs, and
Sure.
alerts on those graphs, and an alert will come through and say, so our most important metric is starts per second, how often someone successfully hits a play button, basically.
Okay.
And if that drops off, we'll get an alert that says, hey, that dropped off. And we have other tools that can say, hey, these other graphs are correlating too, the network latency just went up at the same time, or something like that. And so then we get these two alerts together, and we can say, okay, so we think network latency might be the problem. Let's engage with somebody to get that fixed.
Interesting. Well, I appreciate that as a Netflix user myself. So also you mentioned in your workshop the idea of Netflix philosophy about developer freedom and automation. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about what that is for the people?
Yeah, so it's important to note that we talk about developer freedom and responsibility.
Okay.
The two are very important
Fair
together. Lots of companies have freedom without the responsibility, and that's where problems happen. Freedom and responsibility basically means that we hire adults that we trust to make smart decisions, and so we give them the freedom to do so. Mm-hmm. Developers can deploy whenever they want. Anybody can touch anything in production. Anybody can touch anyone else's code, stuff like that. But we hire responsible people so they don't typically do that, right? Unless it's a good choice.
Sure.
So that's kind of how it ties together. And what the nice thing about that is that, if somebody feels like something should be done, they can just do it. We like to joke about how our managers aren't really, managers, because they'll say, can you do something? And you'll say, I'm not interested in that. You'll more likely than not, what happens is you go to your manager and you say, I think we really need to do this. And they say, okay, that's great, go for it. So it's a very grassroots kind of thing. Most of the stuff bubbles up, not down.
Yeah.
So that's really what's nice about it.
It sounds very empowering.
Yeah, it is. It's very empowering.
That's awesome.
But it means that we have to have really strong hiring policies. We have to make sure that we get responsible, trustworthy people, that we can give that freedom to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who will take that responsibility.
Yeah, that's great. So where do you see sort of the developers working on sort of operations and performance? What do you see those people doing in the next 5 to 10 years? Do you think their jobs are going to change a lot?
So, so those are two very different things. But
yes.
So for operations, our team is probably the closest thing that we've got to an operations team, but we make it very clear that we are not an operations team.
Okay.
We will do operations, but we generally will defer it to the team that's trying to get something done. If they say, please go and restart this thing every 10 days, we'll say no, absolutely not.
Okay.
You need to write a program, and if you can't do it, we will write a script for you to do it, but we're not just going to sit here and do these operational tasks.
Okay.
Any operational task that can't be automated like that, we take it upon ourselves to automate it. That's our team's main goal, is to automate as many operational tasks as possible, so that they're not operational anymore, they're just automatic tasks.
Sure.
As far as performance goes, so we have a whole performance team, and they work very hard on server performance and things like that. We have other teams that worry about client performance, and I really hope that in the coming years that some of these problems will be more sort of solved, so they'll be very standard, regular ways.
Sure.
Implementing SPDY on HTTP, for example, making that widespread, that'll make things easier, stuff like that. So I'm really hoping that where we go in 5 to 10 years is more along the lines of solving the really unique problems, where the larger class of problems is sort of solved already.
That sounds great. I wish you luck with that, and I want to
Thank
thank you for sitting with me today.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much.